Today on Pro Church Daily, we're talking about the beginner's guide to using Facebook groups for your church.
Well, hey there, and welcome to Pro Church Daily. It's a show where in 10 minutes or less, you'll get your daily dose of tips and tactics to help your church share the message of Jesus while we navigate the biggest communication shift we've seen in the last 500 years.
The biggest!
I'm your host, Alex Mills. I'm joined, as always, by the boss man and hype man. It's Brady Shearer. And today, we're going to go through a beginner's guide to Facebook groups for your church.
So Facebook groups is one of the most important platforms for churches that's emerging.
Right.
Okay? And the reason that we wanted to talk about this was, one, in response to the big Facebook algorithm adjustment, let's call it, the update of 2018. I don't know if your church is experiencing something similar, Pro Church Nation, but for our page, we have been posting Pro Church Daily every single day, video version on Facebook since the beginning of the year. If you go back to mid-January, early January, when we first began posting these this year, before the algorithm was instituted, you'll see the number of views on these videos, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 2,500, and then the ones that got shared aggressively, up all the way to 10,000 views.
Right.
If you go to facebook.com/ProChurchTools now and look at the view count, they're about a tenth of what they were before, 200, 250 if we crush an episode.
Right.
Point being, for our personal Pro Church Tools account, we've seen a 10x drop in organic reach. Now, at Pro Church Tools, we spend a ton of money on paid advertising, and so we are developing a paid strategy to compensate for this.
Right.
But for your church, if you don't have that type of money to put aside, as most don't, rightfully so, we wanted to give you an alternative strategy to overcoming the drop in organic reach. And even if you're not seeing a huge drop in organic reach, thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
You can still leverage a Facebook group because they are entirely helpful, especially for churches. The reason I say that is because Facebook wants you to use groups for your church.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg did this big tour, the founder of Facebook, this big tour in the summer of 2017, and he visited a lot of churches. In fact, people in churches that I know have since been hired by Facebook to help build the platform, groups in particular, because churches are a great representation of what Mark Zuckerberg and the crew at Facebook are trying to accomplish with their groups. In fact, Zuckerberg came out in an interview with Wired Magazine and said that in the ideal world, for him, Facebook would be an online community that kind of looks something like, let's say, a Saddleback Church does, where people are rallying around a single common idea. That's what the group is meant for. And he used, interestingly enough, a church as an example. Yeah. And this coming from, an outspoken agnostic/atheist living in Silicon Valley, maybe the epicenter for, pluralism. So just an interesting kind of example that he used Saddleback and a church as that. So let's talk about the distinction between a page and a group for those that are unaware.
Right.
Facebook groups are different from a Facebook page in that they allow everyone in the group to start threads and comment on threads. Now, of course, you can comment on a Facebook page, but that's not going to show up in the actual feed.
Right.
And speaking of showing up in the actual feed, what makes Facebook groups so powerful is that Facebook treats groups a lot more similarly to a friend or a family member than an actual brand page.
Right.
So it's one way to circumvent the algorithm. And Facebook really, by dropping a page's organic reach, is almost forcing us a little bit to begin leveraging groups more.
Absolutely.
Which is smart. Facebook does this all the time. They wanted us to use video more. They gave us free organic reach for using video.
Right.
The inverse of that, they want us to use groups more. They are going to throttle our organic reach, thus forcing us to use groups. Hey, their platform, their rules. That's what they're allowed to do. We talked to you, on yesterday's, the most recent episode of Pro Church Daily, about having a website, the most important digital platform for your church, because it's yours.
Yeah.
You are in control of the rules. When you use another platform, like a Facebook, they're in control of the rules. We got to play by their rules. Sour milk, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Another great thing about groups is that, this is an interesting part. So, depending on your church size, you will hear varying opinions on how many groups that you should have. I would recommend that if you are a church of 1,000 or less, to have a single Facebook group for your entire church. If, however, you are a church of 1,000 or more, it may be more beneficial for you to have groups that are actually broken up. Maybe you could have Facebook groups that are mirrors of your small groups.
Right.
So if I'm in a small group with Alex, maybe we're also in a Facebook group that's closed just for our small group. You could also do it by demographics, families of young kids, the men's ministry group, whatever. The danger of having multiple groups is that if you have too much overlap, you could have a lot of like repeat type of stuff, which could clutter someone's feed. They would have a bad experience. Yep. Facebook maybe pulls that from the news feed a little bit. But that, if you're considering, should I have one group or more? That's an arbitrary line that I just set at 1,000, but something to consider.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some specifics for your Facebook group. We're just doing a crash beginner's course here. Here are some specifics. What you want to do is you want to set the group to closed.
Okay.
When it comes to the privacy and security of it, have an admin in charge of moderation and commenting. Roxanne is in control of the Pro Church Nation Facebook group, where basically she's starting threads every so often, but she's also responding to comments if no one else jumps in. Yep. And also, depending on the size of your group, my buddy Jeff McIntosh at Church Motion Graphics, he runs now a Facebook group, Visual Church Media, of more than 30,000 people.
Right.
Sometimes people post stuff they shouldn't. Yeah. So he has a number of moderators that will go in there and delete that.
Yep.
You can also, in Facebook, I don't recommend this, but you could actually turn a privacy setting on where you have to approve every single post within the group. This kind of discourages posting, which is what you don't want, especially considering most church Facebook groups are going to be smaller. You're not going to have 30,000 people in your group. Yeah. So you probably don't want that, but it is an option if you care to do so. When it comes to the content, the great thing about a Facebook group is that ideally the members of the group, read not you and your staff, are the ones that are populating the group with content. So you don't need to develop a content strategy when it comes to what to post. That being said, if the Facebook group is particularly quiet and no one is saying things, you can stimulate discussion by asking questions.
Right.
For instance, ask a spiritual question like, hey, how can we pray for you today?
Exactly.
Great question. But also, feel free to, don't make it too difficult to answer the questions. The more that people respond, engage, comment, the more likely they are to see the group in your feed.
Right.
You want people to engage so that Facebook will show the group in your church's feed. So we're recording this. Yesterday was the day of the Super Bowl. So leading up to the week of the Super Bowl, you could have asked something like, hey, who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And that's something that maybe an individual who wouldn't respond to the prayer request question would respond to this. So ask a variety of questions, stimulate discussion, get as many responses as possible to show the Facebook group in the newsfeed of as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And then finally, a thing that you can do now with Facebook Live, you can have multiple presenters. So what you can do is you can do Facebook Live interviews. Let's say
I've seen this.
Alex is the pastor, as he is, and let's say I attend his church. He could do a Facebook Live where he's asking me questions. So everyone knows Alex because he's the pastor, but maybe a lot of the church doesn't know me. Yeah. You can interview me, and now people know me a little bit more, build the community inside the Facebook group community.
Yeah, and I think this makes sense because we discussed Mark Zuckerberg's statement a few weeks ago on an episode of Pro Church Daily when he was talking about the adjustments to the algorithm and kind of the direction that Facebook is heading. And he said, look, we want to foster community on this site. We just don't want people seeing ads and pages and junk and just endlessly scrolling. We want them to see, meaningful content on their feeds. And so that's where we're headed from pages, kind of just on a lot of our church pages, we post our sermon graphics and advertisements for men's retreats and this and that. But these closed groups are an opportunity for us to have meaningful conversation. Yeah. And I think that's in line with a lot of our vision as the church, as, what we're supposed to be as a community that's involved with each other's lives and doing this all together. And so we do it on Sundays, we do it on Wednesday nights, but now we have this opportunity to do it at any time, at any moment, wherever you are with Facebook. So I think this is a good thing for churches.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's the whole seize the 167 idea. You got 1 hour a week Sunday morning. You got another 167 that you can leverage using something like a Facebook group.
Yeah.
That'll do it for this episode of Pro Church Daily. We are doing a large number, significant number of giveaways this month, the month of February, from Pro Church Tools and Nucleus. And the place to be eligible for all of these giveaways is the @Brady Shearer Instagram account.
That's it.
A ton of engagements going down there. If you haven't already followed @Brady Shearer on Instagram, go ahead and do that. And you will be eligible to win a number of the things that we're giving away throughout the month of February. That'll do it for today's episode of Pro Church Daily. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another one.
And if you like this video, it would mean the world to us if you give it a thumbs up.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.